Hey everybody, Bill Owen from mnpctech.com. How you doing? Today I'm sharing an overview of this case. It's not new though. It came out in 2015, but I think some of you may find it interesting because of the price point that it's currently at on newegg.com. $79.99 for a full tower case. That's pretty good, and it's decent quality. We're actually going to use it for a project this year, an alien tribute build, and my good friend E.EL Ambiense has the same case in his workshop that I have, and eventually they're going to join together into one build that won't look anything like this anymore, but it's a good foundation to start with because it's got that retro vibe about it, kind of like an old IBM workstation from the early 80s or late 70s, which is perfect for an alien theme build, drawing inspiration from the Nostromo ship environment. So what I'm sharing today is an overview just in case some of you may be interested in this case because there is no video reviews of it. And why? I don't know. Maybe because people didn't ask for it. But in any case, I'll fill that gap for you. That sounds like a song. I'll fill that gap for you. This is a silly day today. Anyways, let's get into the details. But one other thing. In the video description, I'll share a link to where you can watch progress of this project once it starts, and I'm going to do my very best to have video updates on my channel. And also, we're going to do an interview with E.EL Ambiense in the Modzu Hangout so you can see his background in modding. You know, I've known him for a decade, and we've done some projects together, but I think this is going to be our most epic one ever, and we've been waiting years for the opportunity. So, in any case, let's get on with the overview of the AZZA ZEN what is it again? The AZZA, is it AZZA or AZZA? I'm not sure. Zen CSAZ-8100B. CSAZ-8100B. That is a really long name. I know I'm going to forget that again. I've had it here for a week and I still keep forgetting it. It could have been so much more simpler than that, AZZA. But anyways, on with the overview. Is it pronounced AZZA or AZZA? I would presume it's not AZZA. Let me know in the comments. I would hope it's not the latter. But here is your front power button right there. Power LED right above that. Hard drive activity LED next to that, of course. And a reset button. I gotta be honest, I don't find myself ever using reset buttons. I thought I would. I guess it's more for overclockers. Tell me in the comments. It's just not something I've been using anymore. Headphone mic jack, 2 USB 3.0 and 4 USB 2.0, which sort of dates the case, and I believe it came out in the fall of 2015, where you're going to see today more USB 3.0 ports. Now, other than that, look at this thing. There's really nothing to it. It's very plain Jane, what's the word, minimalistic. And I like that about it. It actually reminds me of like an end table that I could put my beer or coffee on by the side of my couch. Kind of like, or a center console armrest in a conversion van, something like that. And of course, with all those USB ports, if you're always downloading pictures or videos like me, that's really handy right there. But of course, you know, personal items can go on top because there's lots of real estate on the AZZA 8100, downloading videos, pictures, lots of space up there. When I have to recharge my headset, I can put that up there as well. So I really like that. But to me, really, this is a blank canvas for many modifications to happen. Moving down to the front of the 8100 Zen, we've got a 5¼ bay door. It's got a fake grained aluminum facade on it. This is all plastic. It is heavy-duty plastic, though. It pops open like that. There's just a plastic catch here. It holds pretty good. Just 4 5¼ bays. And is anybody out there still using optical drives? If you are, let me know in the comments. I know a lot of people who aren't these days, and as you've noticed, a lot of manufacturers have gotten away from having 5 1/4 bays. And here's the lower front bezel, vented on the sides only for cool airflow. There is no opening in the bottom here for your fingers to go into to take off the entire front bezel. You have to do that from inside the chassis, which we'll do later. Here's the case badge, which is a thin aluminum with adhesive backing on it. And again, there's a blank canvas there waiting for something to happen. So here's how you take off the front bezel on this case. And this may be the one most important thing about this entire video for somebody who's bought this, who is like perplexed and they look online for steps on how to remove the front. Don't try to pull it off. You either hurt yourself or you may break the plastic. Open the data bay doors. By the way, if there was an actuator, how cool would that be, huh? And there's tabs. There's 3 tabs on each side. Just go in here and gently pry the tabs off their pivot point. And then you can take the front bezel off. And this bezel is really well made. Probably the best part of the whole case. Could do a lot of modifications to this without compromising the structural rigidity of it. I've removed the single 120mm fan that's included in the front from the factory. The front only allows 2 120mm fans to be mounted. And I know already what you're going to ask. Bill, will a 240 radiator fit in the front there? Because it sure looks like it should, right? Well, there's this stand here for the data cage, and also this bracket design deal going on here is never a good thing because it's typically more narrow than a narrow radiator. This radiator is a Hardware Labs. It's 130 millimeters wide and it won't fit in this bracket, and that is sad. It's an oversight. Again, $79.99 for this full tower. You're going to run into some issues, but I would hope that you've got an open mind and power tools. Well, in no optical drive base, put a 360 up front and put an SSD in there. So, yeah, out of the box, you can't put a 240 radiator in there. Yeah. The top panel, unlike the front bezel, is easy to remove. There's just 2 thumb screws in the very back. And I'll be honest, I'm impressed with this top panel. The construction is very well made. There's multi-layers of ABS plastic, plenty of airflow venting on both sides. I feel like this is durable enough where I could actually stand on it if I had to, if I needed another 2 inches to reach the cookie jar, perhaps. Now, underneath, you've got space to fit 3 120mm fans, or optional 2 140mm fans will mount in this fan holder up here. Or you could put a 360 radiator, a 240 radiator, or a single 120 radiator if you wanted. However, you cannot put a radiator for 140mm size fans up here. It's too narrow. It measures exactly 140mm across here, and 140mm radiators are going to be much wider than that. So what we have is 2 120mm fans from the factory installed already. There's actually an exhaust fan as well. These fans, they don't mention the specs on them whatsoever, so I don't know what the specs are. This fan is a 3-pin connection with an RPM sensor wire, so you could connect that to a motherboard if you wanted. This one in the back is the same as the rear exhaust, where they just have Mullix connection. We've got a 120mm red LED exhaust fan that's pre-installed from the factory. Now what you can do is you could swap this out to your own fan or bump up to a 140mm size fan. There is that mounting option here, and there's these inlet outlet liquid cooling ports that I never see anybody use those. Maybe someone in the world is using those, but I just don't ever see it. There is a total of 4 120mm fans that are included in the case from the factory, but only the rear exhaust is an LED fan, and that illuminates red. There's a power supply filter that's easily removable and reinstalled I like that. That slot, it's like an optical disk drive slot for that. Hey, and more of these liquid cooling inlet outlet grommets. AZZA must have tons of those in stock and finding reasons to use them. So we've actually got a total of 6, 4 here and two at the top. I would have preferred a perforated airflow grill here instead, but that's just me. Now, I'll say this, 9 PCI slots for a chassis this size is a bit rare. Usually you see a maximum of 8. And something else that's different is that the expansion slot covers are plastic and they are toolless and snap into place. Now, how exactly long will they live? Will they wear out over time? Fall out? I don't know, but it's different, and I like to see things done differently. Now, the window that's included is this smoked, it's the, I'm not really plexiglass, and I'm not cast acrylic weird plastic that scratches just by looking at it. And I'd taken a napkin just to wipe some dust off, and there's already scratches in it. And I'm sure that something like Novus polish would take those out, but don't have really high expectations for that, and I highly doubt we'll be using this window in our build, so not that big of a deal to us. Now that panel removed, this is what's unique about the Zen CS-B-8100. This access door to the data drives. That's pretty cool. I would have liked something a bit more heavy duty, but it works. I've had it open and close several times. And I wonder if you could actually slice vegetables or fruit with that hinge right there. Anyways, so it has a 3.5-inch cage that's removable. I've already removed the 3 thumb screws. It only fits 3.5-inch drives in these plastic caddies. Why they didn't mold it to also fit SSDs, I don't know. It almost makes me wonder if this case is a lot older than 2015 when it was released. 2 of the 6 3.5-inch hard drive cages are hot swappable, and I've got a old mech store in there, and it actually, well, it's a 250 gig SATA 150 Diamond Max. It actually fits quite well considering it's plastic and works all right. There's toolless design for the optical drives. And this is funny, you know, when I've asked people who watch my videos, do you still use optical drives? Actually, a lot of people do. Or is it just the people that watch my videos? But there is a mixture of people that are still using 3.5-inch drives and optical drives. I've gotten away from it. I just go with an SSD pretty much in my builds now, so I've got plenty of space and it's just clean and easy. But that's me. So that is that right there, and this cage is held in by thumb screws, which I had removed. But for our build, we're going to remove this entire assembly in here, and we're going to have 1 or 2 radiators in a cross-flow cooling configuration. One right here, a 360, and then on the other side, 2. So this cage assembly and this door don't really mean anything to me. It's all going to go. Oh, yeah. So there is an outside purpose, or maybe it was unintentional, to slice vegetables or fruits with your data storage door. Looking inside at the motherboard area, nothing thrilling, just standard affair features here. It will fit extended ATX boards. I do like the 9 PCI slots. Just don't see that often enough. Large hole for accessing the CPU retention bracket. We got some grommeted cable management holes here. Those seem to be okay quality. Moving on to the back side of the motherboard. To remove the panels, you just put your fingers here. The side panels are pretty durable. I do really wonder if this design is older than 2015, because well before 2015, manufacturers were allowing a lot more space to hide cables behind the motherboard. And this is scary. I'm glad that we are joining two cases together and I won't have to deal with trying to hide cables here, because we're going to have a lot more room. Yeah, I would say this is probably my biggest complaint about the AZZA ZEN CSZ A-8100. I think I got it right. Did I get that right? Oh, now I can't find the... Oh, there. ZEN CSZ AZ-8100B. All right, so those of you that do like using SSDs, this is so cool too. Anthony, my good friend, made this for me. SSD cover. You put an SSD there, and you can put one up above and then one down here. So you can mount up to 3 2.5-inch drives out of the box. And here's a look at the hot swappable PCB board here, powered by a Mullix connection from your power supply. Other than that, there's really not much else going on here. You know, same kind of hinge design, access door, the finger cutter hinge. Be careful of that. And yeah, just you know, it's reflective of the price at $79.99. So there was the overview of the CNZ AZZA ZEN 8100B, right? Let's just pretend. $79.99, you can see why it's at that price point too. I believe when it came out in 2015, it was $129.99 retail. The look is either take it or leave it with people. It reminds me a lot of the Cooler Master half series, that military/industrial angular look of things. I've always liked that look, and it's perfect for us and our sci-fi theme. And yeah, you know, and you can mod it, make it yours, right? And if you do, put it in the modzoo.com forums or tweet at MNPCTech so I can see what you do with it, because I'd be curious. And again, we'll post a link in the video description so you can see where progress will be once it starts, and also a link to the E.EL Ambiense interview in the Modzoo Weekly Hangout. So thanks for watching and supporting MNPC Tech. I just did a retrospective of MNPC Tech the other week, and 16 years of being in business. Mind-blowing. But thanks to you and your support of the store and the products and watching my videos and sharing them, it's allowed me to keep rocking in this hobby that I love so much. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yeah, so, and I'll do my very best to share video updates of this build. Luckily, we don't have a deadline, so we can at least enjoy it without that stress. But sometimes a deadline is good to make you get things done. You know, I've been on both sides of the fence. So in any case, thanks for watching and have a great day, everybody.